When your mind is running at 100 miles an hour and there's millions of things on your to-do list and your body is exhausted trying to do everything and to keep up with your mind, and the worry feels so overwhelming, what do you do? Make tea. And yes, it can really be that simple. Hello and welcome to this episode of Natter with Niamh. I've been talking about worry for the last few solo episodes. And I know I've mentioned making a cup of tea before, but today I really want to break that down. How doing something so simple can be so powerful. If you're new to me, I'm Niamh. I'm a women's confidence coach. I help women stop the worry, stop the overthinking, regain their confidence. For women who feel lost, whether that's through relationships or menopause or whatever, to rediscover themselves and their joy and to choose themselves. And my last few podcasts have been about worry, because worry is something that gets us all. Not all to the same extent. Some of us are chronic worriers, some of us are mild worriers, and some of us worry hits every now and again. This is really for the chronic worriers. And for women in particular, when menopause hits. And I spoke about this in my last episode as well. Menopause, perimenopause. The anxiety can ramp up. It can sometimes just hit like out of nowhere. And it's all to do with your hormones. So if we can find balance for those, then that sometimes relieves some of the anxiety. And sometimes that worry and that anxiety is something that we've learnt growing up. For me, certainly, worry was something that I just thought was natural. I thought it was something you did. As I've said, I think before, my mum used to say she was worried if she had nothing to worry about, which gave me, from a very young age, the idea that worry was normal, it was natural. And to some extent, worry is. Some worry is. Because without that worry, we probably wouldn't make the choices we make. Sometimes we have to go into a little bit of worry to decide on the best course of action for us. And that's okay. But it's when your mind is running, as I said at the beginning, at 100 miles an hour, when there are so many thoughts, anxious thoughts, stressed thoughts running through your brain, and you can't actually get a hold of one of them or any of them. It just seems to be a loop, a repetitive loop, and you can't seem to break out of it. This often happens when we're exhausted, when we're overdoing things, when we've made promises to people, and then we feel that need to keep those promises, to not break them, that we feel we have to do all the things that we've said we'll do. And there is, I'm very much, if I've said I will do something, if we're going to be authentic and we're going to be living with integrity, we do need to keep our promises. So sometimes we need to think about what we're promising people. And that's where the whole people pleaser thing comes in as well. Sometimes we say yes to things that we don't really want to do or don't have the capacity for, but because we're in people pleasing mode. That's a whole other thing, and we will get into that at some point as well. But that causes unnecessary worry for us. So we don't like to break promises. We promise things, we have a whole, and sometimes it's not even for other people, it's things that we want to do ourselves. We're shutting ourselves all the time. We're telling ourselves that we need to do these things. And we're laying on the guilt. We're guilting ourselves if we don't do them, if we take a break. And that can throw in the worry, the anxiety as well, because we're looking at this long list of things we've got to do and we don't know how we're going to get it done. And the brain starts going at 100 miles an hour. Your body's exhausted from trying to keep up. And so, as I said in the beginning, what do? We make tea. And it sounds really simple and simplistic, and you're probably going to scoff and turn this podcast off, but you'll be missing something if you do. Because making tea is not as simple as it sounds. There's a great depth to making a cup of tea. When you decide to go and make that cup of tea, what you've actually done is made a choice to give yourself a break. You're choosing to step away from that worry, from that anxiety in that moment. And a cup of tea involves several steps. Now, if you're lazy like me and you just use a tea bag in a cup of in a mug, that's probably one less step. But the first step is actually deciding you're going to make a cup of tea. And that instantly breaks you out of that loop of thought. It takes you into another thought. Oh, tea, make a cup of tea. So you head to the kitchen. You have to fill the kettle up. If you're in America or somewhere else, I'm sorry, I don't know how you make tea, but we in Britain use the kettle, and in Ireland we use the kettle, an electric kettle. We fill the kettle up. We put it on to boil. Now there's two things that can happen here. While you're waiting for the kettle to boil, you can stand there toe tapping in frustration, wondering if it's ever going to boil, thinking it's taking ages to boil. Or you can take a few moments to breathe, or maybe pop to the loo, whatever. You can continue with the break that the thought of having a cup of tea has created for you. So just standing, looking out the window, seeing what you can see while you wait for the kettle to boil, breathing, just being with yourself, with your body, in your body. I sometimes like to see if I can balance on one leg for the entirety of the kettle boiling. Sometimes it's my right leg, sometimes it's my left leg. And that's a really good challenge for your body and your mind, but it takes you out of that worry, because you try balancing and worrying at the same time. You can't do it. So we've got the kettle boiling. And then we need to choose whether we're going to do my way, the lazy way, tea bag and a mug, or whether we're going to make a pot of tea. But you've got to choose your tea bags. Now, sometimes, I'm a big fan of herbal teas. Sometimes it'll be green tea with mint or lemon. Sometimes it will be, if I'm feeling like I need soothing, it'll be chamomile tea. If I feel I need to fire myself up a little bit, I need some motivation or something, I'll maybe make ginger tea. Sometimes it's just peppermint tea again, that's quite soothing. And if you're having digestive issues or whatever with the worry, peppermint tea can be really good. And then sometimes just a good old-fashioned cup of British builder's tea is just the foundation you need. So whatever tea you choose, you make your tea. You either make it in your teapot or you make it in your mug. But you've got to put the tea bag in. You've got to pour the water in. And then you have to wait. So here we go, we've got more waiting. So again, we can choose to take ourselves back into that worry while we wait. Or we can choose to do something else. Again, if you've balanced on one leg, you could balance on the other leg while you're waiting for the tea to steep. You could add some things to your shopping list. Since you're in the kitchen anyway, you might as well look in the cupboards and see what you need. It's about maintaining that break that you've created for yourself. Not slipping back into allowing the anxiety and the worry. So now your tea's ready. You've milked and sugared if that's what you do. And now you're going to take your tea and you're actually going to sit down with it. You're not going to put it to one side and carry on doing jobs and sip it occasionally or forget about it altogether. That's not the purpose of making tea for a break. You're actually going to take a break. Now, sometimes we can think, oh, well, if I take a break, my mind is just going to go into overdrive again. So this is how we take our tea break. So we've made our cup of tea. So we're going to hold it in our hands, preferably in both hands. You're going to sit down somewhere nice and comfortable. You're going to hold your tea in your hands. And you're going to feel, and I'm actually holding a cup of tea as I talk to you about this. You're going to just feel the warmth of that cup in your hands. Feel the sensation on your skin. And just notice how it immediately kind of brings a sense of relaxation to you when you just hold that cup of tea and feel that warmth. And just allow that relaxation to spread. Allow your breath to deepen a little. And just notice how it feels to just sit for a moment holding a cup of tea. There's nothing here but you and the tea. You and tea. And then you might want to bring the cup up to your face and notice the steam first of all. It's hot. The steam. And steam has the effect of dilating your nostrils and the blood vessels within your nose. And when we dilate the blood vessels, we enable the uptake of oxygen. So we're breathing slightly better. So that's the first thing that tea, warm tea, hot tea, can do for us. Just even if you just sit and inhale the steam for a few moments. Make sure it's not too hot though, because we don't want to burn ourselves. But that can just bring relaxation itself. It can clear out anything that's in your sinuses. It, as I said, dilates the blood vessels, which in itself allows you to relax. And then when we've done that, and we've had enough of that, we can just take a sip of our tea. And notice, first of all, the temperature of the tea on your lips and on your tongue, in your mouth. And then notice the taste. And see if you can notice the subtler tastes in that tea. Depending on the tea you've chosen, there'll be different tastes. And sometimes if you choose a mixed tea, like mixed berries, or if you choose something like lemon and ginger or green tea and mint, you'll have undertones and overtones and different flavours. So just sit with that for a few moments. So just sip your tea, take a few sips. And really allow yourself to taste that tea, to feel the warmth of the tea in your mouth. And then as you swallow, to feel the warmth of it as it goes down into your throat, into your esophagus. Maybe the warmth continues down into your stomach. But warm tea, warm drinks, warm food going into our stomach can really help us relax as well. There's such a sense of comfort and warmth. And I don't know the physiology or the science about any of this. But I just do know that, in winter, we head for warmth. We like soups and stews and more tea. And just that soothing warmth on the outside of your body and on the inside of your body can be so calming. So we just sit and we just drink our tea and we just allow ourselves to really note all the tastes. The smell of the tea, the feel of the tea as we sip and swallow. And this may not be how you would normally drink a cup of tea, but it's how I'm inviting you to drink your cup of tea every now and again in future. It's called mindfulness. I call it tea meditation, There is such a thing as a tea meditation. I don't think this is it. I might look that up. But this is when I talk about tea meditation, this is what I mean. It's sitting with you and your cup of tea and just really noticing the tea. In some ways, it's like a hug. And in other ways, if you can imagine when you've had somebody sit and really listen to you, that feeling that they have. No, the feeling that you have, when somebody's really listened to you. We're trying to create this here for ourselves with our cup of tea. Because when we allow ourselves to take this break, to take this pause, to really sit with our tea, what we're doing is we're saying to our mind and our body, you're okay. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to take some moments for comfort, for soothing yourself. I hear you. I'm listening to you. And we're okay. This is all part of our self-care, our self-nurture. It's a gift we can give to ourselves, used quite often at any moment of the day. We can just sit quietly with a cup of tea, and it doesn't have to take hours. 10 minutes is enough to just give yourself that break from your busyness, from your thoughts, from your worries. And now I am going to go and finish my cup of tea in peace and quiet and let you do the same. I would love to know if you try this, if it worked for you. And of course, if there's anything else you would like me to talk about on this podcast that might help you. Hope you have a lovely cup of tea, and I'll see you again soon.